I'm joined now by the City Councillor for Ward 3 in Saskatoon, Rob Pearce. Rob, good morning. Welcome to the Deputy Mayor's chair for the first time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's definitely been an interesting experience.
Well, yeah, you were one of the many newly elected councillors, but you had a mission when you decided to run, and you are following through on that now that you are on council. And it all comes down with homelessness, and you actually took steps. You're being proactive. You went out and you worked with people on the streets. You went out and experienced what they are going through to get a feel for what exactly the issue is. Can you tell us about that? Your night out, I guess.
Well, actually, my night out was not entirely a new experience. I've actually helped over 200 people in our Fairhaven community over the past 2 years with the shelter here. I've certainly engaged with a lot. I've provided some free counseling to them. I've given them rides to medic clinics. I've given them food. I've given them water, you name it, and some great conversations. So the night out with David Finday, when he challenged council to go out with him, it was a very special night. To me, it was a night to get to know David as well. And it was interesting as we met people on the streets because, you know, a number of them recognized David and some of them recognized me and what efforts I've been doing. And we had some really good engagements. We went to St. Mary's, where the men's winter warm-up shelter is, overnight shelter. We got to speak to staff there and some people staying there, and that was a great experience. And then we went to also the Métis Friendship Center. And what was interesting is as we went to these different places, we were also handing out hot chocolate to help people warm up and have conversations with them. But then we ended up giving people rides between these two places. You know, when we were at St. Mary's, and then, you know, a woman who was there saying, hey, can you give me a ride to the Métis Friendship Center? Because that's where the women are staying. And we gave her a ride, and then we had a good visit there, talked to people there. And then a guy asked, hey, can you give me a ride to St. Mary's because I need to stay there? And the next thing I knew, my car was full of guys needing a ride there. And, you know, it's very eye-opening in terms of the need that there's so many vulnerable people in our city. We know statistically the numbers have tripled in less than 2 years. And regrettably, it could actually be more than that because these point-in-time accounts are only as good as the amount of volunteers that you get, right? So if you have a lot of volunteers, you're probably going to have a higher result than if you have fewer. But the data is good. And the statistical elements of who these people are, what the causation of their homelessness is, that's all relevant. That's all a great snapshot. And as we look at solutions, what we need to be doing is meeting needs. Because if Fairhaven's taught me anything, if the needs of people, the vulnerable people aren't being met, you're going to have crime. You're going to have issues. If their needs were met, they would be in the shelter. They would be getting the help that they need. So, yeah, it was very encouraging getting to know David. I speak to David probably once a week now. We do coordinate. We do talk. He is definitely a community activist in wanting to help the homeless. And I definitely am encouraged every time I speak to him about his passion and drive is the same as mine to see the most vulnerable people in our city helped.
Is there at some point, this is, I'm sure, informing the work that you can do as a city councillor and that council can do. But is there at some point only so much that can be done from the civic government level to address this? I mean, that's what everyone's looking at the mayor and council to fix this now, but that's not really the only way that this is going to be resolved, right?
Actually, it legitimately can't be resolved. By city council. This is actually much more under the provincial jurisdiction and the federal jurisdiction, not the city. Regrettably, the city finds itself in a place where it has to respond. You have vulnerable people, and trying to wait for the province or the federal government to respond to these needs in a meaningful way and in a quick way, it's unfortunately not realistic. It's even slow in my estimation, and for us as a city sometimes to respond, in all honesty, right? Because we have to dot our I's and cross our T's as well with everything that they do at the city level. So I'm encouraged by our current city council and what they see as the priorities of our city. And we're going to be releasing our strategic plan, I imagine, in the next month or so. But, homelessness and housing and community safety are definitely, top of the list and what we see as priorities that need to be addressed in the next several years. And so, yeah, we need the federal government, we need the provincial government to step up and provide funding quickly and reasonably and work with us directly on projects that are going to meet the needs of the people.
All right. Great points, all of them. Ward 3 City Councillor Rob Pearce, thank you so much for a few minutes this morning.
Oh, glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Select clothing for Jeremy Dodge, provided by Anthony's Fashion.
The Spring Shed is back. If you're in the Saskatoon area and ready to put fitness first, this is for you. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. Check out all the details on the CTV Saskatoon website and register now for Spring Shed Season 14.